So is it possible to travel to other realms, dimensions, visit other worlds and universes, and communicate with otherworldly beings? If you look at what an experience is at a fundamental level, the answer to this question is a simple yes. Now let's take a look at the powerful and natural psychedelic substances that nature has provided us with. These substances include cannabis, salvia, DMT, 5-MeO-DMT, also known as the toad, ayahuasca, psilocybin, aka magic mushrooms. Historical evidence suggests that human beings across the globe have been using psychedelic compounds for hundreds and potentially thousands of years. There are endless stories and reports of humans using psychedelics to travel to other realms in order to seek the wisdom and knowledge therein. However, it's safe to say that most people in today's society believe that this is complete nonsense. For instance, if someone were to eat a high dose of magic mushrooms and would travel to another dimension and communicate with alien humanoids, most people would say that that person was simply high off drugs and that whatever he or she experienced was not real. It's all in your head. It's not real. But if you really think about it, that would be a paradoxical statement. Why, you ask? Let's take a look at the concept of reality. What most people would consider reality would be our day-to-day lives. We wake up every morning, we eat, we go to work, go to school, do activities, and then go back to bed to start this process again the next day. We experience this reality through our 5 senses: touching, tasting, smelling, hearing, and seeing. These senses send electrical signals to our brain, which allows us to perceive the reality around us. Therefore, the brain is responsible for signifying to us what reality is, which means whatever the brain is experiencing is technically real, whether it is a psychedelic trip or doing an activity in your day-to-day life. For instance, when we sleep at night and find ourselves in a dream, the brain is still active, and electrical activity is occurring in the brain as we dream. Your brain is perceiving the reality of the dream the same way it is perceiving the reality of your day-to-day life. From your brain's perspective, the experience from the dream is just as real as you working at your office job or having a couple of drinks with your friends. Now, the same thing can be said about psychedelic journeys. Although the experience of a psychedelic trip is temporary, it does not change the fact that the experience itself that you're having in that very moment is real. Your mind is perceiving the reality of that psychedelic trip the same way it perceives the reality of every minute of your day-to-day life, via electrical activity in the brain. Therefore, if you're traveling to another realm via psychedelic usage, that experience is not any more or less real than the experience of your day-to-day life. As previously mentioned, you could argue that the only difference between the experience of your day-to-day lives and your psychedelic trips or dreams is that psychedelic trips and dreams are temporary. They don't last. Trips and dreams are simply temporary experiences. This is one of the many reasons as to why people don't consider trips and dreams to be real. However, our lives are also temporary. We are born, we live and experience the world for whatever time we get, and eventually our lives come to an end. This is the reality of life. This is why it's important to live our lives to the fullest, because one day this physical life as we know it will inevitably be over. Now, these principles can be rightfully applied to psychedelic trips, spirit journeys, and dreams. So why shouldn't we take psychedelic trips or dreams seriously? Our lives have a beginning, an experience, and an end, just like any psychedelic trip or dream. In addition, the brain collects the experiences and images of our day-to-day lives and stores them as memories within our mind. But it also does this with our trips and dreams. A person can easily recall in vivid detail an impactful psychedelic trip or dream they had years after it happened, the same way they can recall an impactful event that happened in their lives. So a psychedelic trip is a temporary experience. Yes. A dream is a temporary experience. Of course. Life itself is a temporary experience. Our mind does not perceive these things differently. They are all essentially temporary experiences. Traveling to another world and communicating with mystical elves after smoking some DMT is just as real of an experience as walking your dog on a Sunday morning. Everything you encounter in your existence, whether it is in a dream, in a trip, or in life, is simply and fundamentally an experience. With that being said, as we develop our knowledge on consciousness and reality, we begin to understand that what we perceive as real life might not be so different in the way we perceive psychedelic journeys, dreams, and whatever else we could experience as a consciousness. Thanks for watching.